So Carl, going back to the success that you had and the growth in your margin contributions, and based upon the success built around 100 days of soldiering and this daily huddle, why would a GM not want to do this with their teams?
Well, you know, Derek, it goes back to the point about culture and change. Most people are comfortable doing what they're doing every day because that's their routine. And a lot of people, when you introduce change to them, they don't want to be a part of it. So when you ask why would general managers not do it, especially general managers that maybe have been in their positions for quite some time, I think you do need to look at when general managers come in. I think a brand new general manager is much more acceptable because they, you know, lifetime would say, hey, this is, we want to implement this 100 days of soldiering or this huddle process, and they're going to accept it. On the other hand, when you come in and you've been with your team, it's change. So people are afraid, we're all afraid of change because change can be failure. But I think the hardest thing is when you say we're going to do this, the first comment you're going to get back are the people putting their fist up. So general managers, they'll put their fist up and they'll say it'll never work in my club. I've got senior department heads. I had senior department heads. I'd been in Northrop Grumman Newport News. There were people that were foremen that were there for 25 years, and we implemented this. They were leaders for 25 years in the same position, and we said we're going to change. And it took a leader. It's going to take a general manager that says I'm ready for change. It takes a general manager putting his fist down and saying, give me the change. Show it to me, let me live it for 100 days. So I think the biggest thing, Derek, when you ask that is it's the fear of change, and that's the reason that they won't do it. And honestly, I'll call a spade a spade. We get comfortable in what we're doing, and 100 days of soldiering means that if you've got an 8:30 huddle meeting, doesn't mean you come in at 8:30 as general manager. It means you're in at 7:30 and you're planning your meeting and you're trying to find out what you're going to do in that 100 days to keep people on the edge of their seat for 100 days. It's taxing, and most general managers are going to realize that. They're going to say, wow, is this really what I want to do? Because it's going to, we work long hours now and we work hard now. Think of it as working smart, because the payoff at the end of 100 days, oh my God. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into some of these department heads, and we're going to get into some of the changes that have occurred here in the culture, and it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
So Karl, let's talk about the daily huddle platform that you use and how it came about. On your platform and the scorecard that you used, and you mentioned scorecard, what made you choose the matrices you did in your daily huddle and put it in this platform where you went from sales process to member engagement and DH connectivity to DH connectivity report out and department connectivity to revenue department report out and their particular matrices, and you closed with non-revenue departments and their matrices?
Okay. You know, if you think about what we do, the cornerstone of any club is a membership. We hear dues are king. They are king. So I started the platform, I started the matrix, I started the template, if you would, just with that. Because if we don't understand where we sit from a membership side, and we don't understand that what drives the memberships are the Fab Five, if we don't understand that cornerstone and we don't drive that cornerstone, then the entire matrix is all for naught. So I started with that, and then I said, okay, what do we have to do after we go through this Fab Five, this sales process? What's the next logical thing at point of sale? the next logical thing is making sure that these people are connected, and that's our MEP process. And as I mentioned before, it's the best connectivity process that I have have witnessed, and I've worked with a lot of companies in customer engagement, and I've not seen anything like it. So my thought was, we get them in through the Fab Five, then we get them connected, and after we get them connected, you know, this being the entire MEP process, let's put matrix behind that. Let's see exactly what we got to do to make sure that if we get them in, we get them connected, how does that translate into the actual metrics or the numbers of each individual department? So my thought was, let's look at connectivity, and then let's do something a little different. Other than just general managers getting the DH Connect reports and sending them out, I wanted accountability. I wanted to see that in the daily huddle, where I'll get the DH Connects, I'll pass it to the department heads, but they're going to report out live what they're going to do. And I think what people are finding when they're actually coming in and watching us do the huddle is that one connectivity very seldom occurs. It's several. I'll have a department head that'll say, yeah, I made contact with this person, and oh, by the way, do you know that they have 4 kids and they're interested in aquatics? The next thing you know, my aquatics department head is jumping in and saying, great, I'm going to call them tomorrow. And my aquatics department head calls them, you know, the next day and talks to them about their kids. It's total connectivity. So what we found is, as we put this matrix together, it starts with the cornerstone of sales and it moves all the way down. And the beauty is this: once you start looking at your connectivity increasing, when the aha moment comes on for your department heads, they'll see connectivity go up, and the next line on their matrix is actually their revenue metrics. So they're going to see connectivity go up, and they're going to watch daily connectivity going up, their revenue metrics going up, tracking line in line with those. And when they see it, that's when they're bought in to the connectivity part. Very fortunate here, you know, we get the MEP reports, and our standard is AAAs across the board when we look at MEP. We're nothing less. We want AAAs because we know there's a direct tie into the revenue. Now, let me talk about non-rev, because if you think about the acquisition side, the revenue side of this, that is actually not a dollar for dollar. That may be 20 cents on the dollar, it may be 50 cents on the dollar, but think of it from a non-rev side. What happens if we go in and we save $1 in labor? If we save $1 in labor, it goes directly to our bottom line. It's not 50 cents on the dollar, it's not 20 cents on the dollar, it's $1 for dollar. So now where we're trying to take this matrix is, it's more than just revenue creation. It's also expense control. And that's part of it as well. I want to make sure that they understand revenue and expense, so they can run they're running a business. They're running their, you know, we just got back from companies inside. They're running a company with inside this company being this club here. And I want them to understand the difference in that. So they run their company just like I would run this club, like you would run this, you know, region.
So Karl, you know, one of the things that amazed me about the huddle when I got a chance to sit in it and I was examining the matrices that you chose for particular areas, 2 that really stood out to me were the spa and the cafe. What made you choose those particular matrices that you chose for those to kind of track? And then the next question is, in sitting in there, what's the next step? Where do you take that next step with those matrices that you chose?
Right. You know, we always talk about connecting at point of sale to PT, right? my thought was, what else can we connect to? So I thought about, spa and the Beautiful Beginnings, and I thought about cafe. And the whole point initially was to get them connected, if you think about it, one time. If we can get them connected, we know that they're going to stay in this club. And there is a direct correlation. And I would argue with anybody about this. If people don't believe that there's a direct correlation to connectivity and the longevity of people in the club, then I would say go in and look at Carrie and how Carrie's attrition is. So my first goal was to say, let's get them connected. That's the first metric that we were looking at. What do we have to do to get them in there the first time, to get them engaged? And that's hard, and I think we just are getting our arms around it. You ask a real tough question, you say, what's the next phase? And to me, and Derek, you actually brought it up in our last huddle meeting, and you can see the light going off in everybody's head. We get them connected, and we're watching the attrition go down, down, down. And when you made the comment, you said, the next step is retention. And retention being this, what are we doing to make sure they're coming back? So yeah, they've already been in once. What are we doing to make sure that they're coming back to the cafe to get another smoothie? They're coming back to the spa to get a second booking. That's the next phase of this, I believe, and that's if you call phase one. Let's get them connected. Let's bring them in and show them how good we are. The second phase is, all right, we've showed them how good we are. Let's bring them back again. And I think that's where a lot of people will fall off. They'll just fall off. They say, okay, we got them connected and it's good. I believe good companies are going to be ones that are going to say, we got them in, we serviced them with a smile, they're engaged. As soon as you leave that customer alone, watch 6 months, they'll fall off the map. I think our goal in phase two is to make sure we're constantly engaging. We're constantly bringing them into the spa. We're constantly doing things that create a mind-blowing value to every single customer to make them want to come back into that cafe, want to come back into that spa, want to come back into do another, it can be another class. And that's what makes people stay, not 6 months, not a year, but it makes them stay 2 years, and it also makes them go tell their neighbor. This is why you need to come into this Health Way of Life company.